Today's sermon, Finding Hope in a Destructive World. We begin today by telling the truth. We live in a world that often feels destructive. We see it in the systems that fail people instead of protecting them. We see it in violence, in environmental collapse, in division that turns neighbor against neighbor. We see it in quieter ways too, in exhaustion, loneliness, grief, and the slow wearing down of the human spirit. Many people come into spiritual spaces carrying this weight. Some come hopeful, others come skeptical. Some are hurting, some are angry, some aren't even sure they believe in anything at all. But they know the world feels broken, and they are searching for meaning. Here in the Church of Heavenology, we do not pretend otherwise. Heavenology does not require us to deny pain, ignore injustice, or minimize suffering. Instead, we begin with honesty, and then we ask a courageous question. How do we find hope in a destructive world? Not naive hope, not hope that depends on everything going right, but a hope that is strong enough to hold everyone without exception. Heavenology begins with radical belonging. At the heart of Heavenology is a simple revolutionary belief. Every soul belongs, every life has worth, every person ultimately goes to heaven, not because they earn it, not because they believe correctly, not because they live perfectly, but because existence itself is sacred. In a world that constantly sorts people into categories, worthy and unworthy, saved and unsaved, insider and outsider, Heavenology refuses to participate in exclusion. We do not believe heaven is a gated community. We believe it is the natural home of all being. This belief is not escapism. It is resistance. A destructive world thrives on division. It survives by convincing us that some lives matter less, that some people are disposable, that love must be rationed. Heavenology confronts this lie directly by declaring, no one is beyond belonging. Hope begins here, not at the end of life, but in how we see one another now. Hope is fragile when it is rooted in circumstances. If our hope depends on peace, it shatters in war. If it depends on stability, it collapses in crisis. If it depends on control, it vanishes the moment we lose it. Many people give up on hope not because they are weak, but because they were taught false versions of it. They were told hope meant certainty, safety, or success. When life failed to deliver those things, hope felt like a lie. But Heavenology teaches something different. Hope is not the belief that destruction will never touch us. Hope is the belief that destruction does not define us. The world may destroy homes, systems, reputations, even bodies, but it cannot destroy belonging. It cannot destroy the destination of the soul. It cannot destroy the truth that no one is ultimately lost. When everything else feels uncertain, Heavenology offers a grounding truth. No matter how broken the journey, the destination remains whole. Believing that all go to heaven does not make suffering disappear, but it transforms how we endure it. It means suffering is not punishment. It means pain is not proof of failure. It means tragedy is not divine rejection. In a destructive world, people often internalize blame. If I were better, this wouldn't be happening. Heavenology rejects this narrative. Pain is not moral commentary. It is part of being alive in an unfinished world. Hope, then, does not come from asking, why is this happening to me? It comes from asking, how do I live truthfully within it? If every person we encounter is heaven-bound, then every interaction matters. Every act of compassion becomes a preview of eternity. Every refusal to dehumanize becomes sacred work. We do not endure suffering just to escape it later. We endure it while reducing it wherever we can, for ourselves and for others. Hope is often misunderstood as an emotion, something you either have or don't. But in Heavenology, hope is a practice. Hope is what we choose when despair feels easier. Hope is what we practice when the world keeps giving us reasons not to. Some days hope looks like joy. Other days it looks like survival. And some days hope is simply staying kind, staying open, staying human. You are not failing Heavenology if you feel tired, numb, or unsure. Hope does not require constant confidence. It requires continued presence. In a destructive world, choosing hope can be as simple and as radical as saying, I will not let this world make me cruel. I will not let destruction have the final word in my heart. The Church of Heavenology exists not to sort people, but to shelter them. We are not a place where you must agree before you belong. We are not a place where belief is policed or doubt is punished. We are a place where people can breathe. If everyone goes to heaven, then the work of the church is not gatekeeping, it is caretaking. We care for one another while we are here. We build communities that look like the future we believe in. That means welcoming all identities, all backgrounds, all stories, refusing shame as a spiritual tool, practicing compassion without conditions. Hope grows best in community. When one person cannot hope, another carries it for them. When someone feels forgotten by the world, the church reminds them they are seen. In this way, the church becomes a living sign that destruction does not get to dictate how we treat one another. Heavenology does not teach heaven as an escape hatch from the world. It teaches heaven as a promise that changes how we live now. If everyone goes to heaven, then no one is disposable, no one is beyond redemption, no one is your enemy. Hope becomes less about fear of the future and more about responsibility in the present. We do not act ethically to earn heaven. We act ethically because heaven is already assured. This frees us from fear-based religion and invites us into love-based living. We work for justice not to prove ourselves, but because justice aligns with eternity. We practice forgiveness not because harm didn't matter, but because healing matters more. We choose hope not because the world deserves it, but because people do. Finding hope in a destructive world is not easy. It is not automatic. It is not passive. It is a choice we make again and again. We choose hope when we refuse to reduce people to their worst moments. We choose hope when we build inclusion instead of walls. In the Church of Heavenology, we proclaim this truth boldly and gently. All belong, all are held, all are going home. The world may be destructive, but it is not final. Pain may be real, but it is not eternal. Hope may be quiet, but it is undefeated. So we walk forward together, we hold one another up, we live as citizens of the heaven we believe in, right here, right now. And in doing so, we become hope in a world that desperately needs it. Amen.